Hello there. I am happy Monday. I am so excited to be here today. I am here with my friend Shirley Liu, who is a channel for the Kaleideron, which is a very special. Uh, Tell me more about the Kaleideron so I can do it correctly.
Yes, no problem. Well, first, thank you so much for having me, and
Yeah.
this is my first interview, so this is very exciting for me. Yes, still try to figure out all the tech stuff, but it's really an honor, and I thank you for having me. So I have worked with numerous clients, as you know, yourself included. And what I do is I work with what I received as called the Kaleideron. And the Kaleideron is a vast constellation of entities, guides, helpers, and they exist in very, very high levels in the universe. And they are here to help in many ways. So the capacity that I work with them is that I receive information. So as you said, I'm a channel, a conduit. And so when I work with people directly, either one-on-one or in groups, um, I will receive information, guidance, energies that are meant to help the person or people in front of me and guide them in a direction towards ultimately their healing, their growth, their evolution. So some people may have heard of the Akashic records, and you can make it's related, although the sort of the information, and I like to say, like, the archives, or what we have access to is actually much vaster than the Akashic records. It goes beyond our universe in multiple directions. So in general, that's what the Kaleideron is, and the work I do, when I work with people directly.
That is awesome. And so, one of the things, obviously, because I work with a lot of patients who have mystery symptoms, and I think that it's helpful sometimes to have a person like you helping see deeper than what a person might be able to see. Do you want to talk a little bit about health and how Kaleideron could help someone with their health?
Yes, absolutely. So with health in particular, so there's many levels to this. First
Mhm.
and foremost, of course, the most immediate is like physical manifestations of, let's say, some sort of imbalance in your system that
Mhm.
would lead to illness and disease on a physical level. So, I've worked with clients who are experiencing something and they don't really know why. And I know you also have an expertise in this area of sort of undiagnosable illnesses. So a
Mhm.
lot of times, as we know, these illnesses could have other root causes. So it could be something happening in the client's life personally, emotionally, spiritually, some sort of block energetically that's related to one of these areas that's blocking the flow of energy, right? So, you're an acupuncturist as well. So, the point of that is to have all the energy flow and the body will naturally heal itself. So, similarly, we can look at these things where the clients may not be aware that this is happening internally. It may be such a deep, let's say, wounding or trauma or block that they're not really very conscious of it. They're not aware of it yet.
Mhm.
So the work that I can do with clients is to be able to bring these things to light so they can see it for themselves. And hopefully it resonates. Oftentimes it does. And it's just something that, I'm sure many of us throughout our lives, like, we kind of have an inkling, a little bit like, oh, I know that this is happening, but either
Mhm.
I'm not yet ready to look at it. It's easier for me to just like soldier on and ignore it, et cetera, et cetera. But these things do lead or can lead to ailments, physically and otherwise. And so once we can bring that to light, once we can help people see what's happening, and at the very least share that information so people at least know, have the knowledge of what the root cause is for something that they're experiencing physically, And then from there, if they have the willingness to look at it, to um, work on it, to try to heal it, and so when I work with clients, that's sort of the first layer that I do
Mhm.
with them is kind of like, here's the information, here's the knowledge, and then if there's willingness, then we can continue. And ideally, as a healing team, like I could work with them, you would work with them, and so we're really approaching it from like all degrees to work on their total healing. Um, so uh, so that's starting out from a physical standpoint, and of course, there's so many other things and so many layers, but that's the most immediate as far as physical health.
Yeah, and I strongly have experienced this in my own life and with my clients is often, especially when something's difficult, there's always an underlying emotional or spiritual factors that play a role. And so I find it really helpful to have that kind of information for them sometimes. So I would love to ask a couple of questions on behalf of a couple of my clients. And actually, just want to say that my own experience with you has been so remarkable that, and one of the things I want to say is, you know, there's a lot of ways of approaching information that we don't necessarily know right off the bat. But what I love about your information is that it's very uh, practical
Mhm.
and down to earth, and it's very grounded. So, yeah, I just, yeah, it's been a really good experience for me when I've asked questions, and I would love to share that with my clients as well. So, one of my clients has osteoporosis,
Mhm.
and she's in her 70s, and she loves music.
Mhm.
And she has been singing since she was 5 years old. And she's wondering, one, she feels like her music is very spiritual for her, but she's wondering how using her music might be able to help her with her bones.
Mhm.
And if
Okay.
you could possibly
Yeah.
uh, talk about that.
Okay, great. Okay, that's a great question. Music and vibration is very healing, so I imagine there
Yeah,
will be lots of benefits. So and just to explain to folks watching, how I work is once somebody asks a question, I'll tune in, I'll close my eyes and tune in, and then I'll start receiving information and share. So what I'd like to ask for you, if you could, Dr. Shoko, is to kind of think about your patient and your and as I'm doing this, so I can tune into to her specifically. So,
sure, of course.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you. All right. Okay, so first, what I'm seeing for her is that the music itself is definitely beneficial for her as far as lifting her spirits and her emotions, which of course will enhance physical health and well-being. As far as directly with her osteoporosis, it may not be have the a dramatic impact. So, what they're showing me is there's other things, perhaps from a more medical perspective, which you might be working with her on, that would be more beneficial for the actual osteoporosis itself. And
Mhm.
so we can talk more if you'd like, about what approaches you're taking, and see if the Kaleideron has specifically also potentially more medically driven advice. So the music itself, it's good for her, but won't necessarily have that direct healing impact on her osteoporosis condition.
Got it. So it won't be have a direct impact on it.
Not directly. It's
Yeah.
it's again more enhancing her spirit, her emotional well-being. Yeah,
Mm.
but not necessarily the physical condition.
And one of the things that she likes to do is compose songs
Okay.
and music. And would that possibly have more of an impact? Or, I mean, because I can tell you all the other things she's
Yeah.
doing, but
Yeah. Let me see. The composing. So yes, so with the composing, it looks like that will enhance her overall energy flow and boost her physical health and it will help her osteoporosis. And it's looking like the benefit is 10 to 20%, right?
Wow.
So that it does help, but there's still a large percentage that needs to be addressed from other methods, like I mentioned before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it really boosts her energy flow, um, and brings in a more like dynamic life energy through her, then yes, it will help. It not only the osteoporosis, but
Everything.
overall, yes. So
Yeah.
that's a great activity for her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
yeah, of course, yeah.
And I think she's watching, so she's
Okay, great.
getting,
Hello.
she was very excited to see you.
Oh,
So,
awesome. All right.
and so there's two other people I want to ask you about,
Yep.
and one of them is sort of kind of a general question. So it's about one of my clients, but it's also about a good number of people that I take care of.
Yeah.
So she's also in her 70s, and she has had severe anxiety
Okay.
and has become addicted to Ativan, which is, an anti-anxiety medication. And we
Okay.
haven't been able to get her off of it.
Okay.
And there was a period of time where she was almost off of it, and then something happened, and then she had to go back on the medication and raise her dose, and it's really affected her life in an extreme way. And so I wondered if there was any guidance or information the Kaleideron could provide to help her.
Okay. Yes, great. So if you could just think about your patient.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the first thing that the Kaleideron is showing me is um, pretty strong fear that's within her.
Mhm.
The Kaleideron will show the root causes, right? And then we can sort of kind of go zoom out from there.
Mhm.
If your patient were in front of me, I would work with her and talk with her more about, okay, what is the source of the fear? What is happening? What types of help or support systems does she have to help her alleviate the fear? Or what can we do as far as mindset and making shifts in mindset around the fear? Because I'm not able to interact with her directly, but that's kind of an example of how I would work with her if she were
Mhm.
working with me directly. But let me continue and see if I can get some suggestions, just generally speaking for her. So if she's able to, I don't know about her mobility, but if she's able to take walks in nature, so where they're showing me is taking walks in nature, especially with places where there are flowers, and that helps to release and alleviate some of that fear. That's of course leading to the anxiety,
Mhm.
as a cause. Um, and being kind of just fresh air, wind, sunshine, really infusing her with the elements and also the beauty of the flowers. Um, and if she can do this, once a day, at the very least once every 2 days, even if 10 minutes, if she can start with 10 minutes, um, this is one of nature's natural like anti-anxiety uh, um, resolution, or like I don't want to say like medication. It's not a medication, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Natural medication.
yes, natural healing technique.
Yeah.
So they're showing me she might spend a lot of time isolated indoors. So because of that, I don't know if if she does, but because of that, like it kind of traps her into this cycle, right? Where she's more cycling in her fear. So sometimes we just need to get out of our situation, and but that can be the hardest thing because with anxiety and depression, you feel so stuck in it. It's even just hard to do small things.
Mhm.
But if she's able to, these small things can make huge differences. So in this example, just going out and taking a walk every day for 10 minutes and then she can build from there. Um, that'll kind of like open her up. That will open her energy system up, allow the energy to flow instead of just wound up inside of her, just to interact with the elements outside.
Mhm.
So she's engaging, she's getting healing energy from everything, from the
Mhm.
air, from the sun. She's releasing her anxious energy. And kind of, it's like a steam valve to release some of that fear for her
Mhm.
just by walking. It's very simple, but it can make a huge difference for her. So I would say to start, a very simple thing that she could try is this, like,
Mhm.
just daily walks in nature, ideally with flowers.
I should invite her to my backyard.
Yes, yes. You could definitely hang out there,
My
stroll.
backyard is full of flowers
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
because
that could be
they're my own natural remedy.
exactly. Yeah, it could be a healing garden for your patient.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a really good point, actually. Like I'm extrapolating it to myself and others, of course, because there's so many people I work with as they get older, this anxiety is rising. And I
yeah,
do think that the fear might have something to do with, getting older.
of course. Yeah,
Yeah. And, not having control of their life. And so I never thought of it that in my own garden, because I just love flowers. I've
mhm,
planted flowers everywhere, but it's so soothing and
yes.
never occurred to me that, oh, this is a natural remedy.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's our modern society. We take these things for granted, where we're so disconnected
Mhm.
that we forget actually how they benefit us,
Mhm.
Um, and so, yeah, that's great to have that reminder.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And actually, what I would love right now is I was going to ask you another question about a client of mine, but I think I want to not ask that question at this point.
No problem.
So I wondered if there was any other like tips or suggestions that people could something that they could access in relation to their health, like a simple little tip that they could access from
Mhm.
you. And then I want to talk about your upcoming event in my
Okay.
office.
Yes, great, great. Okay, so I'm wondering if I should tune in specifically to your patient base, I'm
Sure.
assuming? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
let's do that. Okay. My apologies. I think Amazon is outside
Yes.
in reverse, so it might be a little noisy.
That's what happens in our environments.
Yes, exactly. Um, actually, okay, it's going away. All right, so let me tune in. Okay. So what they're showing me is, generally speaking, um, things that your patients can do uh, is to do more things that bring them joy. So whatever that means to them.
Mhm.
So one image that they showed me is like gatherings, like whatever types of gatherings, party, like not obviously rager parties, but like gatherings with their friends or family, brunches, teas, games, anything like that. So connection is a big one, and I think um, you know also as we grow older, we we, we have less and less of that, unfortunately, at least in the society. Um, so that's super important, like connection, feeling joy from that, from the interpersonal and human connection.
Mhm.
That will infuse people with so much life energy. So similarly, with actually both of your patients that we talked about, like really finding the ways that they naturally can infuse themselves with active life energy. So human connection is very important.
Mhm.
Um, or anything, anything like the walks, whatever hobbies, but really like making it very intentional. Like this is not only like I like to do it, but this is going to be good for my health. Like this is something like,
Mhm.
if the doctor prescribes take whatever an aspirin a day or take every XYZ a day,
Mhm.
um, this potentially can be more effective than doing that, than doing the pills, right? I think a lot of times the pills are an easy replacement, but really, like again, talking about going to the source, if if people are able to live a healthier and more balanced lifestyle, that actually makes a tremendous difference on their health and well-being. So I know plenty of people have said that, but
Mhm.
hopefully this will also kind of like reframe it in a new way of like, okay, yeah, this is actually like you could use it as a prescription from your doctor.
Well, it's
For
funny. I was talking to one of my clients just before we had our
yeah.
interview, and I was literally telling her that do something
Oh,
that makes you happy.
oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, yeah,
That's
and
so great.
that is such an important. I think that that should be the highlight of our whole thing. Is so
Mm,
important to
yes.
really enjoy life,
Yeah. Yeah.
and sometimes we get so narrowly focused on the things we have to get done, and you know, laundry or grocery shopping or whatever, but that having joy and connection with people is so much more important.
It's
So
very
thank you for
important.
sharing that. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So I would love to talk about your upcoming event at my office.
Yes.
I'm so excited to invite Shirley to my office as for an evening, and it'll be on June 15th at 5:30 in the evening. And here is a link to sign up for it. I'm going to put it in the comments as well. Um, let's see. Do I have it? Yeah. Sorry, technology sometimes not my easiest.
No problem.
But here is, oh no, that's the wrong link. So hold on. But anyway, I want to share this with everybody. Um, let's see.
Let's see. I also have the Eventbrite link that I could just put in there.
Oh, why don't you do that? Yeah, because I'm having trouble making a copy of what I just have there.
Did that appear
And the
correctly?
comments, under the
Yeah.
comments, you just, yeah,
People able to see that?
yes,
Okay, great.
yeah. So that'll show up.
Okay.
Uh, oh, that's under a private chat. So I'm going to
Oh,
copy it
actually,
and put it.
I think actually I gave the wrong link too. So let's get it was private. Let's see. Let me get to the right one.
Okay.
Having some technical difficulties today. Let's see.
Yeah.
You get to the right link. Ah, okay, there we go. All right. Should I put it in comments?
Yes.
Okay, comments. Oh, I don't think I'm able to. So
Or put it in the chat and I'll get it.
okay, yeah, I just posted it again.
Yeah.
And while we're doing that, I can just say that so this event is just going to be an open Q&A for anybody who'd like to come. Kind of got an example of how I work. So you can come and ask anything. You can ask about your physical health. You can ask about it doesn't have to just be like physical health related because everything, of course, contributes to our health and well-being. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, if there's something that you feel stuck on, or you feel like, oh, I need more clarity on, all this contributes to your overall health and well-being. So, you can come with any questions you like, and then I just work with people one-on-one. In the group setting, and you come and ask your question, and hopefully, I love doing groups because there's a lot of helpful information out there that I think others can benefit from as well. So just kind of give you an idea of generally what will happen at the event.
And so just to add to that, a lot of people like health is one element of your life, but for me, true health is being able to live your purpose.
Mm.
to enjoy your life and to do the things that you love to do. And so when you come to somebody like Shirley for guidance, one of the things, like you might want to ask about what your purpose is or
Mhm.
what you want to achieve in your life, because those are also connected to your health. And this, we're talking about whole health, like the whole of your being feeling amazing. And so everything that I do in my work is to help you with that. And I've invited Shirley because I think that's a big adjunct to helping find what brings you joy in your life. So,
Absolutely. I love that. I just
yeah.
did an event at a place called the Center in San Francisco, and that was actually the focus of the event itself is, finding out what people's purpose was and also what their gifts are. So,
Oh,
like,
wow. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So, and I think like you say, if people are really in their purpose and they're using their gifts and they're sharing that, that brings a tremendous amount of joy and alignment and energy to them. So I love that you added that. So thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It was really a
Well,
pleasure. And I'm
thank you.
so excited to have you up in my office on the 15th.
Me too. Thank you. Look forward to seeing everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.